And off we went. A relatively short flight up to Hong Kong. And our first impressions were, it is busy. But we found our favourite chocolate and hopped on the train into the city centre. It was clear this was a very densely populated city, and many of the signs in traditional Chinese and English. All the construction works we found looked like they had very safe bamboo scaffolding, which would pass any safety inspection. I was aware of the close history that Hong Kong had with the British, but this was very evident when looking around the place. These street markings, for example, the street signs, the 3-point plug with the on and off switch, and the buses they use, including this one, which resembles the 548 which goes between Brighouse and Rastrick. Continuing to walk around the city, night drew in. We was only here for one night, so we thought it best to walk the streets and see the sights on foot. We came across a local market selling all sorts of local tat and souvenirs. Many of the restaurants where the locals went were busy on the evening. We continued on to this magnificently lit up market, which continued to have local souvenir stores. We then arrived at the section which had many stalls offering a variety of street food, the vast majority local to Hong Kong, with the Chinese influence, which I will now show you around just a couple of them. This was fried noodles. This was a Nepalese stall, followed by a range of local kebabs and skewers. Another stall with more skewers. These were questionable. I didn't know exactly what they were, but they looked like octopus. I had absolutely no idea what was going on here, but what I did do was settle for a traditional Hong Kong beef burger. It was delicious, followed by some chocolate ice cream. We continued our walk south, passing many interesting trees on the side of the road, as well as some anime staircases. But I wasn't familiar with the characters, but the artwork looked pretty cool. There was more British influence there with that store. And it was nice to walk the streets with all the signage, the shops, and just general sounds of the city. As we got closer to the waterfront, there were some very posh hotels, and Hong Kong's answer to the Sphere from Las Vegas. But the main event was seeing the skyline on an evening. It was fairly spectacular. This was taken from the Kowloon side of Hong Kong, facing over to Hong Kong Island. And we did find the statue of Bruce Lee, which was pretty cool to see also. This is a perfect demonstration of how to use a pedestrian crossing here in Hong Kong. Very well done. After a good night's sleep, it was back on the train. I was heading over the water this morning from the Kowloon section of Hong Kong to Hong Kong Island, where you see the local and historic trams, as well as the tall buildings. This formed part of the skyline that we'd seen the night before from the other end of the water. The local wildlife was magnificent, and there was more painted staircases, which are always interesting to look at. So Jackie Chan. We queued for the tram to get up to Victoria Peak on Hong Kong Island. This was very steep. I'm glad I got the tram instead of trying to walk up the big hill. The tram took about 15 minutes to get to the top, where you saw the main event, the Pokemon figures, and the spectacular view of the full city. It was a very cloudy day, but we were still able to take in the magnificent views. I saw the local window cleaner, hard at work, fearless man. There was many souvenir shops and mini museums with Hong Kong artifacts, which were quite interesting to look around. And even a little mall up at the top. But for us, it was time to head back down the hill. It was a short trip to Hong Kong, and we had a plane to catch. The brakes on this tram were good, which we're thankful for, and we were back down to sea level. From the same point we took in the views the previous night, we had a look up at the peak we'd just been at, and spent more time looking at the skyline. But our trip to Hong Kong had come to a close. We headed north to the train station and back to the airport. It was an interesting place to see, was Hong Kong, and I would recommend it if you're there for just a few days. Thank you for watching this video, and if I don't see you before, we'll see you on the road.